how to choose from many, many ideas. If you're like me, you'll have a crazy brain full of ideas, full of courses I want to write, full of art I want to make, full of things I want to write, and creative projects I want to get involved in. And I want to create a space, and I want to throw an art party, and I want to get back to having a physical studio space, and I want to get in my art room, and I want to create this course. And there's a lot in my head. um, and that can be a good thing, and because it's what drives me, and it can also be a hindrance. And I wanted to talk about it because I get asked a lot about how to choose what to focus on, especially when you have lots of ideas. Now, you might be somebody that doesn't have ideas and you have the opposite problem, um, where this process can actually help with that as well. But I'm going to speak specifically to those that have lots of ideas. So I'm looking at this topic right now as well because as I'm recording this, we're at the mid-year point. So I'm really taking stock of how I want to spend the next 6 months and how I want to end the year and all the things that I would like to explore. And so in the last episode, in fact, I talked through that process. So if you haven't listened to that episode, go to that one because I talk through the process of how I start to, it's episode 197, how I start to review my year basically. And so I'm at that point, I've reviewed, I'm now at the point of downloading the things that I would like to do. So I tend to start first of all by putting things into buckets. So I start with a piece of paper and put a cross on the piece of paper. And then each of those will become a category like money, health and personal, art, work. Now, I tend to only work in threes. That's a quadrant. I mean, it's up to you. Sometimes I do just to get things started. I'll work on four things, but I do like to stick to three. That's just my own personal opinion or preference. But first of all, putting it into categories just helps so much. And you can write it in a list form or you can mind map it. And so if you mind map it, you would put the name in the middle like art, and then you would branch out from the name art, all the things that you have on your mind in relation to what you want to get done in the next 6 months. And sometimes when I'm going through that process, it's about not overthinking, can I get it done in the next 6 months? But it's about just downloading. And I'm not even thinking about, is it achievable? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough time? I'm like not even thinking about those things. I'm downloading to just get all the juiciness out of me, what I'm curious about, what it is that's been on my mind recently, what I noticed from my review of the first part of the year, what I've enjoyed, what I haven't. And so I start to make this list based on that, based on my word joy and the things that I want to do more of that bring me joy, the creative projects that have been on my mind where I've maybe recorded in a sketchbook, I'd like to create this, I'd like to work on this, I've noticed something that I think, yeah, I'd like to explore that. So I get it all out of my head onto a piece of paper. And art is one of them, work is one of mine, money, and personal if I was going to split it. But sometimes I put the personal and the money one together, or the money one with my work. So that's where I start downloading. And then I've even got a massive whiteboard. So then what I do from there, say I've taken my work, my map, and I've got lots of different projects and ideas and events and all the things that I want to do. I then start to put my work into categories. So for me, my work is categorized by learning, United Art Space, my membership, what I would like to launch and events, and then what I want to upgrade. So they're my categories. That's the first time I've had those categories. Learning is usually always on there, like what do I want to learn in the next 6 months, because I'm continuously learning all the time. That might be books I want to read, courses I want to take. United Art Space is for the whole of my business, really. The things like updating my website, the magazine, creating an audio of my book. So I download all the things, and then what I do once I've downloaded, which then just creates so much space in my brain and I can see everything in totality. What I then do is I look at that board and I sit with things for a while. Because that's what I do. I like to sit, I like to feel things. So I'll sit with that board, and then what I do is I circle the top 1 to 3, and they are like the main things that I want to work on. And before I do that, some of the questions to help me, sometimes I just know, like, I want to get the hub redone. Like, that's just no brainer. Like, there's no question. I know that's my number one. Some things come to you straight away when you see them on the list. You're like, that is what I want to do. That's the number one. And you know, with conviction in your heart. And then sometimes you're looking at the list and you just don't know. I'm like, I just don't know where to start. Where do I start with all of this stuff? And you can do this with the art, break your art down into categories. It might be painting, doodling, sketching, or whatever. It could be subject matter, and you break it down, and do the same exercise where you download your art into categories, and you start to then pinpoint, and go deeper, and then circle the 1 to 3. So if you're struggling to choose, what I tend to do is I go through, I just pick 3 to begin with, to compare and contrast them. And I sit with them and I question, like, why did I put it on there in the first place? Why is this on my board? Why haven't I done it already? This is a good question to ask yourself. Why haven't I done this already? Because sometimes that can bring up an awareness of a block or things getting in your way. Sometimes you realize that actually, if I could just do this one thing, then this would get done. This is what's been holding me back. I want to get this done. Sometimes, why haven't I done this already? Because it's actually not that important. That might be the answer. And you just cross it off the list, put it on the shelf, park it for now. So these types of questions, why did I put it on there in the first place? Why haven't I done it already? Does this bring me joy? That's one of my words. For you, it might not be. For you, like, what are you looking for in terms of your own life? It might be that you want to feel challenged. It might be that you want to feel connected. Whatever the words are for you, that's what I'm asking myself. Does this bring me joy? Because everything that I do this year, I want to have more joy. That's one of my words. Knowing where you're going is helpful. So does that task bring to your life the feeling that you're seeking? And then, so I sit with those questions, and then I start to get clearer on the 1 to 3. And out of the 3, then I pick what's the main one out of this one, because I can't focus on all of the tasks. You can only focus on one thing at a time. So it's choosing that one, knowing that they're all on the board. They're not going anywhere. These are your ideas. Just because you choose one now doesn't mean that you can't do all the rest of them. It just means you're choosing one to focus on right now. So this is a great task for anything, for your art, for where you focus your projects, for home life, for relationships. You can use this exercise for anything. And so then what I do is I take that one task and I figure out the next 1 to 3 steps. What are the next 1 to 3 steps to make this happen? And then I carve that into my calendar, my diary. I ask myself, who do I need to be, do have to make this goal happen? That comes then back into my learning. Do I need to learn something? Do I need to think differently about this? Do I need to seek help from somebody? What do I need to implement? And I start to get clearer on those next steps. And then I map that out. And I'm always just, sometimes you can do the same exercise actually with a big goal. So say one of your goals is to build a website. Or mine is to redo my membership. The first thing I do is I download all the steps that I know I have to do on that task. Then I can assimilate them into order. So the next 1 to 3 I'm choosing are the next 1 to 3 tasks that I know I need to take. And you only need to know the next one step to take. You don't even need to know the next 3. You need to know the next one. What is the next one step off this massive list that I need to take action on today? And that's how I work and how I assimilate all my massive ideas. Now, I choose the 1 to 3, I build them into my calendar, then I go back to the board and I see in my calendar, do I have any more space? Do I have any more bandwidth? So I'm looking at physical space in my diary, but I'm also looking at bandwidth, mental bandwidth. Do I have the bandwidth to take any more on? And if I do, then I do the same process again, and I pick the 1 to 3 and I weave them in, and that's how I keep going until I fill my diary to a place where it feels good. I don't want to overload and stress myself out. So I want to look at my calendar and feel good about it. If you're looking at your calendar thinking, oh, then I would reassess it. I want to look at my diary and feel excited. And I do. That's how I design my life. I look at my calendar every month and I'm excited about what I've got coming up. And that's a big key with this, is designing your life in a way that feels good. And that's your aim. So figure out what feels good and fill it up with the stuff that makes you feel good. Of course, the caveat to that is there's always going to be some things that we don't like and some things that part of the task. There's going to be jobs that I don't want to do, but it fulfills the bigger good. The like with the membership, I've got to redo the membership. There are some tasks that are laborious that I don't want to do, but I know that I want to redo the membership. It's exciting and I can see the vision of it. So I'm prepared to do those things because it's for the better good of the bigger goal, So anyway, I hope that helps you choosing and whittling down your tasks. Let me know over on social media if you end up doing a mind map. Do you create lists? I'd love to know. Let me know. And I'd also love to know, what are you focusing on for the rest of this year? I'd love to know your goals. So let me know over on socials. I'll see you there. Back next week. Take care. Bye.